2 Kings 2:4 is a verse in the Old Testament, in the book of Kings, which describes how Yahweh, Jehovah, Adonai, the Judeo-Christian God, how he sends bears to kill small children who insulted the prophet Elijah for being bold. Now this is really the main case for why the Judeo-Christian God is quite despicable. Arguably, I would say even worse than the Islamic God, than Allah. Because if you go through the entire Quran, there's not one mention of how Allah sends any type of animal to slaughter children. That's kind of not mentioned at all. But of course, this is inside of the Bible, inside of the Old Testament. Of course, the Old Testament is the Tanakh, so this also affects Judaism as well, right? Not just Christianity, but also Judaism. And yeah, 2 Kings 2:4 is quite impactful, right? It's quite insane. It's probably one of the most insane verses inside of the Bible, of course, the Tanakh, because again, the Old Testament, a large chunk of the Bible is just the Tanakh. It's the Jewish Hebrew Bible, right? So again, not just Christianity, but this also affects Judaism. And I would also like to bring your attention to another verse, Psalm 137:9. In this verse in the book of Psalms, it kind of mentions and kind of alludes to how it's somewhat desirable to have babies thrown against rocks. You can kind of take that for what you will, and that's kind of not as, well, it's pretty extreme, but it's not really as extreme as 2 Kings 2:4. That's kind of really the main thing to take away for how insane the biblical God is, the biblical Judeo-Christian God. And of course, I would like to now bring your attention to Exodus 32:27, where again the Judeo-Christian biblical God essentially allows for the slaughter of entire ethnic groups. He allows the Israelites to massacre, to obliterate, to destroy, and to remove any opposing threat, any other tribe that doesn't conform to his ideals. And that's kind of megalomaniac. That's kind of insane. That's not a loving God, is it? Right? Because that's one of the claims Christians make, that their God, the Judeo-Christian God, the biblical God, is loving and all forgiving and accommodating, and he respects human sovereignty and he doesn't intrude. That's kind of a lot of the claims that the Christians make. But of course, this isn't true. The Bible kind of is explicit about this. You just have to kind of analyze the actions of Yahweh, of Adonai, of Jehovah, of the Judeo-Christian God in the Bible. And I would also like now kind of bring your attention to Deuteronomy 20:17, another case where the Judeo-Christian God, the biblical God, allows for genocides, allows for massacres, allows for the extermination of entire ethnic groups. And another verse and place in the Bible that I would like to kind of bring to you is 1 Samuel 15:3. This is in the book of Samuel, and it again shows how Yahweh, how Adonai, how Jehovah, how the Judeo-Christian God just allows for the extermination of an entire ethnic group. He commands for a genocide, essentially, right? And this isn't hard. There's no room again for interpretation. This is quite explicit. This is literally the Judeo-Christian biblical God commanding for genocide, for the extermination of an entire ethnic group or a group of peoples. This is quite despicable, and it kind of shows and proves how the Judeo-Christian God is not loving, not forgiving. He doesn't respect human sovereignty, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't be instructing and commanding the genocide and extermination of entire ethnic groups, right? Again, the case with the Amalekites, that's one of the biggest examples of how the Judeo-Christian God is quite abusive, quite intruding, quite invasive, quite megalomaniac,